Hello and welcome back to the Awaken with Maria podcast. I am so excited to announce my guest today, Dr. Michael Lennox, or some who you might know him as the Red Robe astrologist. I just want you to introduce yourself, share a little bit more, and then I'll add kind of where we're going to go in our conversation. But would you just start by sharing a little bit more about yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Red Robe astrology is my sort of daily hashtag identity on social media around astrology. But yes, I'm a psychologist, an astrologer, and I'm also an expert in dreams and dream interpretation. And I call myself a spiritual teacher. I wish the word was more like energy than spiritual. But yes, my entire life in the second half of my life is devoted to service for humanity through the various gifts that sort of propelled me from the first half of my life to the second.
Oh, I love that. And so I have been following your astrology updates for probably the last 2 years, perhaps, on Instagram. And now I've really just trained my algorithm that in the morning, like you're one of the first videos that pops up.
Sweet. Love that.
I know you get up fairly, it seems like you get up fairly early compared to
Very.
like in my time, and all of a sudden I'm just seeing your video. And a couple of places we're going to go with today's conversation. So, again, thank you so much for being on. And for those listening, I will say I have a wide range of listeners, some who may be deep in a spiritual journey, some who may just be leaders, and they're looking for tips and inspiration to really live in their purpose.
Love that.
We've got quite a group here, but we will be touching on just some of the astrology because, again, I
Sure.
love your astrology breakdowns. Like they're so informative and they make kind of the intangible and the abstract tangible.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate that. But more importantly, I'm really excited to get to know the person behind the red robe. And not literally, but you know what I mean? Um, I would love to learn more. You just mentioned some of these tools helped propel you into your second chapter of what you're doing now. So I'm actually curious, have you always done this work that you're doing now? And if not, will you share where did your story begin? Especially because I think people think that, like, oh, if I'm at this age and I haven't figured out my purpose yet, I must have missed the exit. I must have missed the segue. I'm too late, or I haven't done enough by X amount of time. And I really want to share these stories of people who it's like, it's not related to time. Everything has a reason. Will you share a little bit more of yours?
Absolutely. Everybody wants to find their life purpose as if it's a thing that is out there. But your purpose is just to live present in the moment as joyfully and centered as you possibly can. And then your purpose is informed by your life. That's life purpose. It's not that complicated. And
Yeah.
someone like me who has found a particular path doesn't mean I have a purpose and you don't. So I wanted to start with that.
Agreed. And every chapter has its reason. So
Yeah,
I know people
that's
are
right.
like, oh God, now I found my purpose. I wasted so much time as a teacher or whatever. And it's like, no, that was part of your
Nothing is
purpose.
wasted.
You had to
Nothing.
have that
Yeah.
experience. So, yes, we're on the same page there.
So, my particular story about embodying the sort of esoteric, energetic, spiritual aspects of who I am, which, by the way, are an enormous amount of my being. But
Yeah.
I was born into an empirical household. My mother was a scientist. We talked a lot because that's a long story. As her golden child, we talked a lot, but she negated every intuitive impulse that I had. And this intuitive, 62-year-old sprightly little young'un here was just as intuitive and sensitive and perceptive at 8 years old.
Yes.
But mom was God and shut everything down, which was the way it needed to be for me because
Yes.
I'm a pearl. I needed to be a piece of grit inside my first half of life. Meanwhile, a great life. Making music as a professional. I had a singing group. We used to open for, comedians. I worked. My last corporate job was VP of New Business for Playboy Enterprises.
No
And I
way.
worked for MGM Movie Studios before that in the business end of things.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
developed a life. I wanted to be an actor very clearly early on. It was like, I can't live that life. So I was too sensitive to
Yeah.
live the life of rejection.
Yeah.
Now I understand why completely. At 25, I was like, why am I letting go of a dream I've had since I was 8? But my body was screaming to me, let it go.
Wow.
Now, to try to make this brief, I'm not skilled at brief.
You're fine. You're fine. I love the story.
No, I never let go of my spiritual curiosities just because mom was like, right? I found my first tarot deck at 18, 17, no, in high school, so 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Um, but more importantly than anything else that I explored of the fun tools and tricks, when I was 15, my mother was getting a master's in social work, and Freud's interpretation of dreams showed up on her bookshelf. And
What?
I loved my dreams. I was fascinated by them. I was an imaginative kid. My dreams were vivid as crazy. And I picked it up and I read it. Now, I don't know what I got at 15 years old, but I certainly understood that dreams had value. They could be, his word was analyzed for meaning. So in high school, just like everywhere else publicly, what do people say? What's one of the conversations you see everywhere? Oh, I had the craziest dream last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just did this thing. I wish I could go visit back to my like 16 and 17-year-old high school student because I just said, tell me what you dreamed, and I'll have some things to say. And when I did that, people would widen their eyes. They go, that is so fascinating. How did you? How did you? How did you? But
Wow.
I had this gift. It showed up at a very young age. And so even though I was off to the races with this sort of like corporate business entertainment career, like
Yeah.
I did my first workshop on how to hold dreams at like 29 years old at a yoga studio in West Hollywood. You see, so the
Wow.
dream piece really pulled me through that first half of life and was becoming something. It wasn't just like, oh, I love dreams and I write a lot in a dream journal. I was teaching, I was showing,
Yeah.
sharing.
And it almost feels like dreams was the way for you to hold on to that piece of yourself because I think we sort of I think we've taught ourselves as humans, we create this veil of like, what, I have wake time me, then I have dream time me. And I think it's almost like, in dream and when we talk about dreams, we allow ourselves to be a little bit more playful,
Yes,
creative,
magical.
intuitive, and it
Yes,
feels more accepted though,
yeah,
right? Because we're
yeah,
talking about dreams. And I think for some people, they can like laugh it off, like, huh, that was just a dream, right? But it sounds like that was a way for you to stay connected to that.
absolutely 100%. And I'll add to that, it's because dreams happen inside of us. They're intimate. Mom couldn't fuck with my dreams.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I had a strong, like, I am drinking that Kool-Aid. I might be shutting down my emotional body to keep mom close, but I didn't let her know to me. Not ever, not ever. Well, we all knew she was a little crazy. So interestingly enough, now I'm like in my late 30s. I've left the corporate world. I got laid off from Playboy and I did not want to go back. I already had a master's in psychology, so I was working in the mental health field. And I just got a
Interesting
call from a
pivot
casting
there.
director
Okay.
friend of mine, yep, who said, hey, you still interpreting dreams? Because there's a show coming on Sci-Fi Network and they're looking for dream experts. And I said, not only am I still doing that, I now have a master's in psychology. I
Oh
didn't
my
get my
God.
doctorate yet, but I had the MA. So long story short, 2 years of developing the show. The show, we shot 65 episodes. It
Are you
launched.
serious?
Oh, yes. I
Okay, I
thought
need you to share
this
what is this
was
show?
the dream team with Annabelle and Michael. And because they shot 65, but only finished 21 of them, they ain't floating around there because
Ah,
it's all raw material in some warehouse with 21
buddies.
completed episodes that they showed first at 11 o'clock at night and then 11 in the morning. And they couldn't nurture an audience.
Interesting.
Thank God. I was not ready to be in the world and had able to carry the projection of a lot of people. That Dr. Mike would have been in rehab 3 times over.
Yeah, yeah. So it all happened as it was meant to.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So when that settled, and I was in a very expanded period for about a year and a half after I came, when I picked myself off the floor. And I had a really beautiful expanded like time in 2000 and like 4 and 5. And I got a phone call. I was the dream dude at that time for anything in the media, right? So I did a couple of television shots, lots of calls for news things because there was nobody else at the time. And I got a call from a local LA station, radio station that specializes in spiritual material, but like a, everybody knows KPFK in LA.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to talk about astrology.
And at the
They wanted
time,
me to,
had you been dabbling in that already?
never, no, dabbling was an astrologer, but I was never putting astrology into the media. Oh, no fucking way. First of all,
Says the
I
guy who
was,
now like records a daily thing every day.
right? I was obsessed with being taken seriously. And the TV folk, listen, they're all just such whores. It's just so awful, And so the the pressure, because I looked very young, and then they were like, people won't take you serious as an expert. The lawyers wanted a list of every book I had ever read. Well,
Oh,
guess what, Mary? I've never read a book on dream interpretation. I've
yeah.
written four and a fifth that's coming out,
Wow.
but I've not read one because I don't need to read one.
Right. Right.
So, and what I would wear, it was like, oh, he's got to have a jacket on, so because he's got to be credible. So I had that wound, and then just the mother wound.
Yeah.
She'd be fine with dreams,
Yeah.
but not. So
Totally get that.
I
Totally
said
get that.
yes,
Yep.
uh, you know, and lo and behold, though dreams never went away. In fact, I have published 4 and soon to be 5 books on the subject. Um, Astrology exploded
Mm,
over those years, and here we are with
yeah.
that. So I do a lot of astrology every day on social media, and I have an astro school, and I.
Yes, yes. You go
Um,
really deep into that topic. Yes.
but when I started my podcast 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I knew it had to have dreams in it.
Mm,
So it's conscious embodiment, astrology, and dreams with Dr. Michael Lennox. Except that's all changing because the 5th book, Unexpected, was not my idea. My publisher reached out and they said, we want to do a line of the beginner's guide to. Will you write our beginner's guide to dream interpretation? And I was like, will I? Look, I'm not for the beginner generally,
yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
just not the right teacher for the beginner, though I'm a teacher with every molecule.
Yes.
The This idea of this being for beginners was so hit me at the level of service. It
Mm,
plopped out of me in 6 weeks.
no way.
Best best writing I've ever done. And it's like, oh yeah, Michael, now you're supposed to teach dream interpretation, not abandon astrology, but shift. So there's both. And one of the things that'll happen at the end of the year is the podcasts will be split.
No way.
Well, yeah, a dream podcast could be a huge podcast, and an astrology podcast never will,
Yeah.
especially not my kind of astrology. I'm not doing bullshit pop astrology that says, well, Capricorns, you're all going to meet your soulmate this year. That's not astrology. That's
No.
entertainment.
No, that's why I love your updates and your videos because they're so practical, down to earth, and real, you know?
Thank you.
So you're
So it's
splitting
a
the
fascinating
podcast,
moment.
diving into both. There's so many different directions I want to take this, but first I just want to point out to people listening, again, living in purpose is something you choose daily. It's something you just stay in the present moment. You get invitations, you say yes or no. You're like, does this pull my soul forward? Does it not? And all along you're a beautiful example of this, like, because I think, right, people, we have to remember our ego or our logic mind will sometimes say, well, no, but I've already, for you it might be like, no, I'm doing the astrology thing, this doesn't make sense to go back to dream interpretation, why would I do a beginner's thing? Like, it will overthink it. But for many of us, the more you like tune back into soul and your intuition and inner wisdom, it's like, no, there's a reason for this. And I'm feeling called to say yes. And here you are now. It's like, oh, it's all making sense how this is going to play out now. But just to remind people, like, we just have to remain open to these
That's right.
possibilities and
That's right.
opportunities.
I like to say that the body knows what to do every moment, but only in the moment. And it only has a two-word vocabulary, yes, no. And the mind is irrelevant to
Yes.
that mechanism. It's not, I like to say in my teaching flippantly, it's it's no value at all. And it's like, that's not actually true, but it's fun to be loud and shocking, right? But it is not valuable to movement.
Agreed.
It's more like context. It's cold, put on a sweater. Oh, turn left here, not right.
Yes.
We rely on it for everything, thinking that that's where we decide.
Yes.
But we never really decide there. We decide here. And if we involve this too much, we are not in the groove. The groove is in the morning, in the day, we are in, the feet and the body are there.
Yes.
Get your mind there as well. And then you cannot help but unfolding your purpose, because your purpose, first of all, it's not a CV, it's not a job. It's what do you bring into the room you
Yes.
enter? Do you bring and move through with it as grace? Do you leave a little behind when you leave?
Yeah. And really, like, how are we sharing our light? How are we sharing our light, everybody's candle looks a little bit differently. We all have different combinations, but at the end of the day, we all signed up to share this light with the world. And it's truly so fun to watch people's journeys unfold, honoring that it's going to look different than ours.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to, there's like two things, but okay, going into dreams for a second. I also love, and I do some dream things just in my world, and it feels like, and I want to hear your take on this. You've written books on this. I know you know the topic. Dreams feel like they happen in layers. You know what I mean? And like I've told people like, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out. That's kind of a there's a I think the character has a dream.
I show it at retreats.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, and I think so. I always might tell people like, yes, in the early stages of sleep, you might be just filtering through and working through your day. But the deeper periods of REM, and as we go through different periods, it's ironic too because I took a sleep psychology class in undergrad that I'm like, why did I take this? But anyways, as we go in deeper, then one might say, then we're going into our subconscious, into the psyche. We might also be doing some soul work, some astral traveling and different things. So I'm curious how you come about dreams and how you use them with your clients, and even personally, how you're using them in life.
Hmm. So, like, no notes in terms of what you're describing about, the idea of levels of consciousness. We have that in our waking life. Like, we
Yeah.
have a level of consciousness where everything is horizontal, where we're separate and get the fuck out of my way, right? And then we have a level of archetypal a consciousness, which we absolutely connect to in dreams, but it would be like where oh, look, I'm sitting with an aspect of self that's curious, that's expansive, right? You're sitting with an aspect of yourself that is, this or that. And then be above that, there's geometry, sacred geometry. So I would say that if that's sort of like my language for describing the layers in the waking life, it would stand to reason that there's no separation between sleeping and waking, but we are in an underworld that, yes, lower, 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 lower. And, the brain does accommodate this by providing a longer REM cycle with each successive cycle. So there's more opportunity to play in that landscape as the evening of sleep goes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my work with dreams with people, it has been as a context tool for where you are in no, where you're in squeeze. Like, the life will tell us where the struggle is with regard to accomplishment and circumstance, right?
Yep.
But accomplishment and circumstantial trouble has a match, a
Ah,
conflict internally that's projecting the conflict out there. So
yeah.
answer's not out there, it's going to be in here. So it's like I might have dozens and dozens of dreams before one comes along and I say, oh, this one
Mm,
needs to be looked at because it's reflecting a conflict, a struggle, a problem, not just like, oh, I'm stressed and I have that dream again.
Right, right. So
No,
it's almost like you're using dreams to interpret the shadow.
exactly. Well, not almost, honey. 100%. And so here's like a really simple way of describing what I might do with somebody that I think will make it very clear to anybody listening, even if they don't have a lot of experience in this world.
Yeah.
Say someone has a dream, and in the dream, there's an image where like they're stabbed in the eye with a knife, and it's so upsetting to them in waking life. They can't stop thinking about it, and it's making them anxious every time they do it. I would get out my colored pencils and my drawing paper, and I would say, draw it, draw it. Now, the conscious mind is connecting to something that's deeply unconscious, that's being represented as a symbol.
Yeah.
Conscious person or the person with their consciousness is saying, okay, I'm going to get this quality. You can't see my, I like gestures. This,
Same.
there's where the thing is. And so I get my pen and I pull it out from me into an external symbol, not a word, not sentences, not the language of the mind. You got to talk in the language of the place, which is unconscious, which is a language of symbol.
Yes.
But suddenly now it may look innocuous to somebody out there. Oh, they just drew pictures. Like, yeah, but you're not, this room is not for you.
Right,
Way.
right.
Because in fact, something numinous can occur by doing that. There's a change, there's a process. Now, not every dream's going to blow up your psyche and up level you, but all dreams and in fact healing experiences are like, they're like retroactive and cumulative. It's like you collect them and you collect them and you collect them, and then here or there in the timeline you grow, but
Yeah.
you grow bigger than you otherwise would have because you spent all that time looking below the surface, considering the shadow. What is triggered in me, even though I know Marcy's a bitch, but like, why am I bothered?
Yes,
You
yes.
do
And
enough of that and carry it around in a basket, there's a weekend or a day or a trip or a retreat or a session or a something where it pays off and it you're wiser than you would otherwise have been if you were unconsciously moving through life.
yes, yes. I love that. And honestly, I truly think too, whoever's listening, there's always certain people. Again, I mean, we all dream and we all can access dreams and we all can do dream work. But with that said, I feel like I've always had certain clients who like they really go into dreams and they're like, Maria, I dream all the time. And they just feel more pulled in. Like, I even have a friend who she did one of my spiritual containers or programs, but she like is feeling so called to dreams. I'm honestly going to tell her about your new upcoming book coming out because she's literally said to me, she's like, Maria, I think maybe I'm supposed to like be a dream interpreter. I don't know. And I'm like, that sounds so random, but also like follow that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel called to become a dream interpreter, but
Right.
like,
But
she's going to listen to
this
this.
reminds me of something you were talking about earlier, which is like how I say it is your next move is what comes over the horizon, not what you think. Now, you don't have to do everything that comes across the horizon. It's not like, oh, now I gotta. That's what the body says.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have a relationship with my plant over there because I don't know when to water her,
Oh.
but I feel energetically. Now they're all going to think I'm crazy. I feel energetically connected to her where I literally can say, do you need water? And I will hear yes or no.
Oh.
So
I
that's when
love
I
that.
water her.
And I don't think you're crazy at all.
No, I
I
don't
kind of
think.
forgot. I love talking to the plants. I have a plant too in this room that I'm in. Although my husband would say I've neglected it and I forgot to water it a couple times. But truly, we're all energetic beings. I mean, again, depending on where people are on your journey, but truly anything's possible. I think I've sent some messages to my dog, so it's all possible. Okay, now I want to talk about the other rich thing that you're known for, or the main thing maybe right now, I should say. But this planet, this
Yeah.
rock that we're all traveling on together in relation to other major things happening in space. And even I want to say, even on the backdrop of recently, here in the US, I know you and I both know it's kind of a shit show here right now. And with that, we just sent, a team to the moon or around the moon, maybe, whatever, which is just wild, and so tell me how, for your average person, maybe they aren't fully deep dived into astrology yet, or like, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Because we all know, like, oh, we're energetically tuned up because it's a full moon. Or those of us who are like avid astrologers or follow it at least, we're like, oh, yep, like 7 planets are in Aries right now. Peace out. Like, this one's hitting. But like, will you just
Yeah, why
explain,
does it
like,
matter?
how does it matter? How can we use this tool?
Okay, real quick. I want to do a little like distinction between what most people think astrology is and therefore allows it to be thought of as nonsense, because what they think astrology is in fact nonsense.
Please.
And the distinction of what like real astrology and what that can do to a person who wants to contextualize each move in their life, to have a sort of sense of what's the feeling I'm having, how's it being reflected, will I understand it better if I know the cycle that I'm in and I have a sense of the archetypal purpose. So
Yes.
now I still think that that's hard for people to imagine that that information is findable in the
Yeah.
planets. So I
Yeah.
have to say a couple of things about that. One is planets and the moon and the sun and the various moving points don't cause anything to happen. And most people
Mm.
live in a kind of, even if it's an unarticulated sensibility, the negation is how could those planets cause anything? That's the language and the thought. And it's just completely erroneous that it's like, I know you think you're talking about astrology, but you're just having a loop of I don't understand this, I don't understand this, I don't understand
Yeah,
this.
and kind of
You're
like
not,
buzzwords, right? Like
it's
just
not, it's like
the poppy astrology you
you
see.
think you're negating astrology, but you're just in another room.
Yeah.
And if you came into the room I'm in and we're open, I might help you understand it. They don't cause anything, they reflect everything that's happening.
Ah.
Everything reflects everything in this life. The world that we see is reflected by our consciousness. And if you don't believe that, decide to buy a white Prius. And then, bam, the world is full of white Prii, right? They were there before, but you now have a white Prius inside of you.
Yeah.
So your world suddenly is filled with Priuses. That's a simple explanation that most people have some reference for, but
Yes.
that's how the whole thing works. That's why if you're like born into a house where love looked like beatings, then your survival depended upon you understanding love as beatings. And then you're going to go out, your survival is going to look like you will help me survive because you feel dangerous.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah. If you open up a walnut, it looks like a brain and it has the nutrients that are good for brains. You cut open a carrot, it's got vitamin A for eyesight. All right.
Yes.
One of the things that's very helpful to me as a kind of context sort of zinger is the idea that we might be in a simulation. Okay. And I'm not talking about whether we are or we're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the physicists who are talking about this because science and mysticism, they're getting closer back together. That is coming.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't think I'll see it in my lifetime, but it's I'm going to do my best to help. Um, so if this is a simulation, astrology is the code.
Ah.
Simple as that.
Ah.
It's the code. So that's how you could be born in one hospital bed and a child be born 30 seconds later, and it's a different being because code is complicated. You see a blip on a screen and it's backed up by pages and pages of ones and zeros. So, because we have this colloquial understanding of how computers work and how digital technology works, and now how artificial intelligence works, at least generally,
Yeah.
I can use this as a model. Imagine we're a simulation. What's going to be behind it? Astrology is the code. that describes the speed of this moment compared to that moment, describes how 2020 wasn't, a crazy moment on the planet instead of what 2019 was.
Yeah.
The code flows, and it doesn't need to be the unfolding plan, because 50% is chaos and randomness,
Mm.
which is built into the code, and people reject that. Nobody in the spiritual world wants to talk about chaos and randomness. But it's 50% of the equation, not just a little. It's just like, oh, random things happen. It's like, yes, because 50% is this one quality of the way energy works, and 50% is this other. It's like, if you see a pendulum, you see the unfolding plan. If you add a third one, you see chaos.
Yes.
Same pendulum structure. You're just adding the already in existence but not perceived third pendulum layer. It's
Yes.
there. You just can't see it because it's another
Yeah.
dimension.
Astrology as code. I'm still landing with that one. I feel like that's a really great way to describe what you just said. Astrology is the code. If we're the simulation, astrology is the code. So I'm just landing with that one.
This sparks me to want to say something else. While this isn't exactly about astrology, it's in the same territory of that which is behind what we see out in the world.
Yeah.
People love conspiracy. It is the hobgoblin of the average mind who cannot contextualize nuances like science. I mean, like, for somebody to say we didn't go to the moon, they're the lying to us. I'm so sorry, but do you have any idea how many thousands of human beings would have to be in concert? We can't agree on fucking anything. And you think that there are people who are just like, and thousands of, okay, so.
Right. Well, I mean, quite frankly, that's like a whole rabbit hole. But like, even I hate to say it, right? But we still have people who are Holocaust deniers or this, that, or the other thing, and it's
Right,
like,
right, right. So
okay, but so many people have witnessed
conspiracy
these things.
conspiracy satisfies an inner need for understanding. We
Yeah.
all have it. And
Yeah.
if you don't have a lot of intellect and skills there, average is average. Conspiracy is easy to grok, and it's satisfying. It ends the mystery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all want to end the mystery. Mystery is
Absolutely.
very uncomfortable. We want to know.
Yeah.
But consciousness itself is the universe. Life
Mm.
is the filter for consciousness itself, so that in an instant, there's a moment where consciousness can get into life to look back at consciousness. That's the purpose. We look up and we say, well, where are we? Consciousness is complicated.
Yeah.
It can have beyond, like, just an unfathomable amount of pieces of information and data that twist and turn, that make a country grow up valuing profit, so that pharmaceutical and medical companies are trying to heal people for realsies inside a paradigm that doesn't value that.
Yes.
So the value is there, but it's held by nefarious capitalism. And the consciousness of that allows for pharmaceutical companies to be completely committed to healing, but being run to rape and pillage our health because of the consciousness, not the boardroom, not the people around the table. Nobody's sitting around those boardrooms saying, how can we fuck people up to keep us making money? No, they're saying, how can we heal? How can we help?
Yeah.
While the people looking down on them are saying, and how can you make it profitable? Because you're all out of work if you don't.
Yes. Yes.
Consciousness itself supplies enough room to describe every conspiracy there is. Not that some aren't there. We know that now more than ever. Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so for those, okay, like so many different themes are being pointed out here, but
I
one
know
just like
we're
astrology
going.
can,
This is going to be your best
it's,
or worst episode.
I love it. I love the conversation. Astrology, I just want you, like, astrology can just, it's so rich and it can be used in so many different ways. And I will just say, if you're not following, I will have Dr. Michael Lennox's information down below in the show notes. Listen to his daily digestible videos. Tune into his, he has astrology text message things that you can sign up for. And all of this to say, like, you can use astrology on an individual level, we can use it on a collective level. And that leads me to ask you, as an astrologist, and you've been infusing more of this in your descriptions when you've been sharing new moons, full moons, and how some of this is impacting the collective energy. And so for those people who are like, why am I on this planet right now? What, like, WTF? What does, and again, I'm saying this wrong almost because I'm like, I don't, I want to phrase the question like, what does the astrology say about the season that we're going into as a collective? Like, how can people anchor into their purpose? And how is the astrology the backdrop? Um, does that, make sense? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think I can find your question in there. So one of the things that makes people respond on to me on social media with their accuracy, I get a lot of that. You're so ready. You're so dead on. You're so dead on. I don't see those kinds of posts on some of the pop astrologers. But here's why. I'm talking about how the energy is going to feel and how it impacts you as a consciously curious person looking to self-investigate and become more conscious. How can you understand what's available in a moment so you take advantage of it and not just call it like, oh, this is a horrible day? But maybe it's a day where the horribleness is reflective of a shadow around love. And I don't say, you're all going to break up today, because that's what the pop astrologer would say. What I say is, some of you may be experiencing things in the heart around the giving and receiving of love that show you unconscious messages and motivation. So watch passive aggressive communication.
Yeah.
Now, that can apply to the office, to the home, to your children, to your boyfriend, to your girlfriend, to your teacher, to the crosswalk attendant,
Yes.
feeling like this or that or that. And that's why people come back and they're like, you said it would be this. And it was,
Yeah.
because the energy reflects what is happening in any given moment, but it gives it context through archetypal interpretation.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the juice of what it offers, is that for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, each of these planets and luminaries and stars and asteroids, for people who work with them,
Yep.
have had consistent, agreed upon
Mm.
meaning. That's science.
Yes.
It's pseudoscience, but not like pseudoscience. It's pseudoscience because it's half art.
Yeah.
But for thousands of years, astrologers have been looking up at that red dot on Mars and saying to the queen, hey, bitch, they're coming. We're about to get attacked. And then they'd get attacked because life reflected by the planetary movement.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just fast and fast and fast and complicated because it's a reflection. The Industrial Revolution, digital technology, look where we are. The astrology is reflecting the enormity of the chaos, of the violence, of the expansions that's so fast, we aren't keeping up.
Yeah.
When Uranus moves into Gemini at the end of this week that we're recording,
Yeah.
wait till you see what happens technologically over the next 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Now, you might think I'm saying that because, duh, just look out there. But the interpretation of Uranus in Gemini is quite literally innovative new technologies that up level consciousness in an instant, based on, and now I'm switching to Gemini, that's your honest language,
Yep.
based on words, thoughts, ideas rising up and being able to become something else through innovative technology.
Oh
I
my.
didn't make that up. I mean, I crafted my language to match the circumstance, but I didn't make up the archetypes.
Yeah.
So it's like you can dismiss it, but if you dismiss it, it's like you're just in the wrong room. Go away. There's someone right behind. You're blocking the door.
Yes.
Go away. I have no more fucks to give.
Well, and I always feel like that's where everybody find your door. We are at a
Right.
point in time.
Right.
Find your door. If you're
Oh,
hearing this and you're like, I don't care about the planets, I don't know, go find another door. Go
listen.
dive into Enneagram, go dive into human design, go dive into nature and get outside because you
Go
freaking love
dive
putting your
into the
feet into dirt.
teachings of Jesus.
Yes.
Become a Christian as Christians were Christians when Jesus told them how to be Christians.
Yes.
Right? Like, go have at whatever mythology lights you up. Just you don't
Yes.
get to legislate that. One of the things I'm sad about Christianity going away in the next, 3 generations is
Absolutely.
mythology is beautiful,
Yes.
and we don't get it. We don't get to have it
No. No, but
because, like,
unfortunately,
oh,
like
that's the true way. But I want to be
humans
with
like totally effed
Rajua
that up
going
though,
to
right?
hell or staying here with the rapture.
Yeah, that got totally, I feel like, misconstrued and all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But at the end
Well,
of the
it's a good
day,
example of what happens when you separate the mother, the earth, and the sun. And you separate. You say, no, 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 it's all Father God, Father God. It's like, honey, Father God ain't nothing without the Mother Goddess to reflect, to hold it.
yes.
We have to get
Yes.
back to that. We have
Yeah.
to
Oh
somehow
God. I
be
mean,
in digital, technological, incredible place where we also get out and touch grass.
yeah. I mean, it's so neat, and it's interesting because this episode will air shortly after I had an AI expert, but just someone who really dives into AI, and we had a
Fabulous.
really you should listen to the episode, but we dove deep into how like yes, AI, but also we still need to be tapped into the body and consciousness. Like this doesn't all happen in a vortex, right? We need to be so grounded in ourselves, in the body. And same with astrology even or dreams or whatever it is. Really at the end of the day, the point of any of this spiritual stuff, and I think this used to be the way for some people, it was like spiritual bypassing and mind candy. I think people could dive into these topics, but then we weren't bringing them through and it's like how am I using this information to live in my purpose?
Yeah.
That's what we're being
Yeah.
called for right now.
Yeah, we have to learn a new way
Yeah.
using the astrological lens. 6,000 years ago, we were in the age of Taurus for 2,000 years, and
Uh,
Taurus is the goddess, the earth, and the great mother. And that's, paganism. That's when we worship the land. There were warrior consciousness, but only about 20%. By the way, one of them was like Northern Europe and the Middle East, which is why colonization happened. But then we moved into the age of Aries. Aries, single, monotheism. Abraham, the God of Abraham, comes 4,000 years ago. Then we move into the age of Pisces is when Christ came. That's why Pisces and the fish and Jesus and his teachings match.
ah,
So, because Pisces also represents the deep unconscious and having no structure,
yeah.
it's why it was able to get so bastardized by the patriarchy and colonization. The
Yes.
age of Aquarius, the promise is to sort of bring things back from the separation into a unity consciousness so that we can continue with all people being cared for.
Yeah.
Now, some people won't like this, but I promise you the future is both corporate, technological, and run by the set of oligarchs. We're
Yeah.
never going to not have oligarchs.
Yeah.
But if that corporate technological powerhouse that does allow some people to live way at the top of Olympus, that's fine with me. As long as everybody's fucking cared for. That's all.
Agreed.
Care
Agreed.
for everybody, and you can eat anything off anything you want just not maybe children.
That would be lovely.
So
Oh,
are we doomed to destroy ourselves? Maybe. But I live in this sort of hopeful possibility that is connected to the body. Like I'm in my body fully now and everything is great. And if
yes.
I stay here, tomorrow will be grace, even if I have things I have to do tomorrow that I don't have to do today. Everything is about coming back to the body, not like the age of Taurus. We can't do that anymore.
Yes.
But we must do it in the age of Aquarius so that it's just not all mental, but that the mentality and the expansion of intellect, consciousness, and awareness can be grounded in people's bodies at the individual level. So if
Yes.
the future is this technological kooky place, then each individual in a body is going to have to learn how to be responsible for staying in that body,
A
to
hundred percent.
have something that was shared more in the past.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
every human, every individual has to be like embodied and therefore able to sort of participate in a world where all people are cared for and then there's peace for humanity.
Yeah. And isn't that like that's the dream where
That's the
every
dream.
person is cared for and we all
Right.
can access love and joy. And that takes honestly us full circle to, we both said this at the beginning, everybody has a purpose. It's not like,
That's
oh, just
right.
Michael and I have a purpose and you
That's
don't have a purpose
right.
and you don't have a purpose just because you feel like you're floating through life and you don't know it. Like, no, you have a purpose. It's going to take one of us every single one of us. And while I know I could talk to you for another hour, I will say, what would you say to anyone who's just on the planet right now? They want to dive deeper into their purpose. What would you say to them? And then please also share what are the best ways to get into your world? And I'll be sharing these
Sure.
links and things below as well.
There's a quote that I live by from an Indian saint, Rabindranath Tagore. I slept and dreamed that life was joy. I woke and found that life was service. I served and found that service is joy. So the world needs service, meaning care from the resource of energy that you carry in your body, that each day there's some offering to the world with what you do. Now, you don't have to leave the house to be of service.
Yeah.
I link this together with activism right now because we're in a civil war. I
Yes.
want America to survive, and I don't
Yes.
really care what has to happen to make that happen,
Yes.
if you know what I mean.
Yep. I got you.
Right. So, service and activation to me right now are the same thing because we
Yes.
won't make it if people aren't doing this. But it's service can look like you just finally pulled that watercolor kit out of the storage and you paint, and that's of service to the vibration of humanity. You don't have to go down to the corner and stand on a soapbox and risk your life protesting. I
Yes.
won't, but
Yes.
I will give no fucks and be salty in my language from here on out. And if I'm not the right teacher for you, then again, bye bye. That's my service.
Yes.
There are people who want to stand and shout, and there are people who will act and do some of the actions that are, I think, scary but necessary.
100%.
I have a
100%.
friend client who her purpose is in her beautiful land that she lives in is to steward the land, but she
Mm.
does it with a consciousness of service to all. She's not just like, look at my land. She's in and the walking and the touching, and it's in the purpose of I do this to bring a better vibration. I paint this painting to
Yes.
contribute
Yes. So it can look differently. It's
for
not gonna
every
look
single
the
person.
same. Yeah. Yeah. So acceptance of that. It almost, I think even it's literally like I can almost hear some people just like sigh a little bit when they
I
hear that
hope
from you, that
so.
it's like,
I
yeah, no,
hope
we
so.
don't all have to be out on the corner with our picket fence and sign. Not everybody's going to be in the courtroom bringing justice to what we all want. Sometimes it's the getting out the watercolor kit. Sometimes it's sharing our gift of dream interpretation. Sometimes it's, for me right now, it hasn't made sense, but like I just knew I wanted to be having these conversations on the podcast.
You
And
followed
sometimes
the
I'm
impulse,
like,
right?
well, what is this really doing? I don't really know, but it's like, I don't know, but I'm feeling called to, so this must be for some collective greater good. So I must hit record, right? Like
Yeah.
I must hit record, even if my brain says, how does this make us money or whatever? Like I don't
But the
care. I
body
know.
said yes.
Yes.
And here
Yes.
we are.
Yes. I'm so grateful that you came on today. I'd love to have you back. I think we could dive deep into some conversations.
Any topic, anytime. So people find me mostly if you go to
Yes.
michaellennox.com, it's just
Okay.
my name. You
Okay.
can certainly find out where I am in other places. If you're not so inclined to go to the website, Red Robe Astrology, hashtag Robe Astrology will get you to my, offerings. I think I post on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yes.
Um, Also, though, michaellennox.com, if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get announcements, and the curriculum isn't soon. It's, we're actually deciding, is it going to be March next year or January or May? I don't know, but it's coming because the
Yay.
book comes out in December. So go to michaellennox.com and get on my newsletter.
100%.
You'll
Whether
you'll
it's
know about everything.
astrology, whether it's the dreams, whether you just want to
Yeah,
dive
it's all that.
deeper
I
and
teach
you're leaning
process
in.
classes and shadow explorations,
Yes.
and so there's classes. I teach astrology. It's all there.
So many rich things. All right. Thank you so much. And to those listening, may you have pulled out a morsel, something. Maybe you leaned in. Maybe you leaned out. Honestly, you guys, that's information as well, right? Like leaning out, that's also information. But I loved this conversation. I know this is going to land with someone, so many people. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.